Welcome back, folks, to the Mail Right Show. It's episode 150. I've got my co-host back with me. He's still traveling, folks, and we've got a fantastic guest, Michael.
Michael
G. Michael G. I'm going to just say that. I'm going to let Michael introduce himself. Michael, can you introduce yourself quickly to the audience?
Yeah, hi. My name is Michael Giannulis. Kind of how it sounds, or how it looks, but it gets to be a little bit weird for some people. Yeah, I'm excited to be here and share what I can.
That's great. And Robert, would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Reintroduce myself. All right. So I'm Robert Newman. I'm the founder of Inbound Real Estate Marketing. And if you want to learn more about me, you can go to my website, which is how most of you know me anyway.
That's great. And I'm the founder of MailRight. We're a marketing platform, a SaaS product that helps you get quality leads for your real estate business. Now, Michael, you've got a really interesting personal story, but you've got a lot of knowledge about digital marketing in general. As we were saying in the pre-show chat, our audience are mostly real estate professionals. Can you give us a quick overview how if you were in that market, how you would look at utilizing digital marketing to help your business?
Yeah, sure. So as I said to you, and we won't focus on that side as much, but for the last year, I've been doing some work as a real estate investor. And as part of that, I got more involved in generating leads of people that want to sell their homes or multifamily, all kinds of options. And so I've got, the cool part was a lot of the experience that I had in doing ads kind of carried over. It was very much the same. It was just almost changing what the ask was, and basically what I found and what I would suggest to people here is right now probably the best way that I've seen to generate good leads has been with Facebook ads. Facebook ads have really done well. Direct mail has also done about the same. So both those options have done quite well for us. We're, like I was saying, we're spending on direct mail side, we're spending about $5,000 a month, and then on the side of Facebook, we're spending about $2,000 to $3,000. Some of that's also with AdWords. What we're finding with Google is it's really expensive. So generating like one lead with the AdWords is costing us around $250 to $300. Whereas on the Facebook side, on our average, we're generating a lead for about $30 to $40 each.
With no difference in quality? Are you testing? Are you figuring out a way to take a look at the quality of the lead?
Yes. So we're seeing that the AdWords quality is a little better, but the volume's so low that we're not seeing anything out of it yet. So I actually paused AdWords just because after about a $2,000 spend, we hadn't really seen anything yet. And I'm also, this is apart from the ad side, but I'm also dialing in the sales team. So I have 2 people. And so I have to kind of keep an eye on them and see how they're doing. So it's a little bit tough when you're in the early stages on what are you judging? Are you judging the ad? Are you judging the lead quality? Or are you judging the salesperson, right? There's all these different people that, there's all these different aspects. So sometimes early on when you're in like a startup stage, which is this particular company is, it's tough. So we're kind of just throwing out a lot of things and kind of seeing what sticks. And then also trying to go backwards and see, like you're bringing up, where did the actual deals come from, right? Mainly the deals that come from direct mail.
Okay.
And I think the reason for that, and this is just particular to me, is because with the direct mail side, I'm able to target people that have maybe paid off their house or they own 3 or 4 homes and they live out of state. Right. On Facebook, okay, it's a lot tougher to target that. So you're going to have to kind of, for us, we're always targeting people that have equity in their home, that live out of state, that own, that can own more than, than you can own 2 or 3 homes. So that way we know they've got they've got the equity in the house to sell it. And we go for the fast sale. We try to closed within about 1 to 2 weeks. So that has helped out for us quite a bit. On the Facebook side, one issue we have bumped into is, and again, this is all real-time stuff, so it's kind of like as right now as it can be. We're seeming like we're getting a lot more mobile homes from the Facebook ads. A lot of people see the ad and they're like, hey, do you buy mobile homes? Do you buy mobile homes? And we really don't. I'm trying to look for someone that might, but that's been kind of interesting. And I don't know if that's a demographical thing. So we're also trying to tweak that. The other thing that I haven't tested this yet, but I've read about it. I've had a lot of people that do this kind of strategy, and what it's called is called the carpet bomb strategy. I mean, that just comes from the kind of the war terminology, just to kind of hit a big area all at once. And it's just for Facebook. What you do is you create a video, maybe about 30 seconds long. And this is not something that I came up with, but you create this video about 30 seconds long. And in that video, you're really honing in on who is your target audience. So if you're trying to sell luxury homes, or you want to, get a listing for those type homes, you would open up with kind of like a very interesting, exciting picture that would catch the eye of those types of people. And then you would kind of have text going. So you would have images, you would have text, like some kind of song in the background, just to get people to watch it. And what you're doing is you're hitting it. Let's say you go out and you restrict it on Facebook, maybe only by zip code and maybe income level, or you own your own house. Maybe that's it. You keep it very, very vague. You don't go trying to target in like wants to sell their house, trying to do this, talk to an agent, all these little things, because Facebook's data is kind of like, it's okay, but you aren't sure, so you just go for as broad as you possibly can. And when you do that, you put the video out and you make it your goal from Facebook, because that's a big thing you have to do, is decide what you want, what's the outcome. Your goal isn't to do anything but to get video views. That's okay. That's important because Facebook, they make that very cheap, because right now Facebook is in this kind of death match with YouTube fighting over ad spend. Are you going to spend your ads on YouTube? Are you going to spend it on Facebook? So Facebook is discounting their video costs tremendously. Now you're going to say, okay, well, why do you want videos? Why that doesn't pay us any, if they watch it, that's not going to do anything, right? Well, there's two things. One, you will have a call to action at the end. So you would say, like, if you want to sell your house, or you're looking to buy a house like the ones you've seen, call me or email me, go to my site, whatever your call to action is. And then you'll have your little button on the side saying, make me an offer, you can choose. So that's kind of one part, and you'll get trickle from that. But what you're really trying to do, which is so cool, is you're creating a list of people that watch that video, that then you go back and you show your Facebook ads to those people, because and you can do it with Facebook based on how long they watched the video for. So if someone watched 75% of that video or more, it seems likely that those people are more interested. And so this is a way to let Facebook and let user behavior create your audience for you. So you're not out there trying to guess at it and go, well, what's this? Well, I'm going to guess people that own a home in this zip code who like shopping for home goods. You're trying to like guess at who we should target. So instead, you let the people choose themselves by how long they watch it. And then you go back with your more traditional ads. And if you do it right and you do your branding right, they're going to be like, hey, I've seen this before somewhere. They may not know where, but it's going to look like, I think I've seen this. I think, so you've got that. Then you let that traditional ad drive them to your site. And this is a big key. This is where I think a lot of people in pretty much every single space. Just don't do this. And I don't know why. You just want to always make sure that where you're driving people, that there's a clear call to action and there's a way for the person to give you their information for a follow-up. Like if you're not generating leads, then it's just a big time waster. So you can have, and if I was an agent, I would have both sides. Do you want to sell a house? Do you want to buy a house? And I would say, get on my email list. I send out every week. I send out all my homes that are coming for sale. Every week, whatever you find out whatever the benefit is of what people want, and you make sure you give them that in your email. If I was doing it, I would even say, hey, if you're thinking about selling your home, get on this email list because each week I update you on market trends, predictions of what's about to come, average home values, all the things that if you're thinking about selling a house, what people would want. I'd probably build out a report on the 10 things you must do before you even think about selling your house. And I come up with stuff that people probably already, think of this stuff, but some people might not. It'd be like, make sure you've done this, make sure you've cleaned this, make sure your yard's picked up. I just read an article talking about like cleaning up the yard and putting out mulch and stuff can increase the home value like 5%. It's just nuts. There's all these things that can be done. So I would look at just adding value there. And then when it comes to the Facebook side, what's cool, you've got this audience of people who watch, let's say the whole thing, say the people that watch the whole video. Once you've run this ad for a week, 2 or 3, you're going to have a lot of people in there, right? Which is cool. But what's awesome is you're going to show ads back to that audience. So now you're going to get them to move from watching about you to going to your site. If they click over to your site, then you're going to want to have follow-up ads going to them if they didn't opt in on that form. So and this could be, if you want to be more friendly and less aggressive, you can start sharing blog posts to those people. So here's a post I wrote about the upcoming trends for 2018 or 2019 trends. And here's a post about, like I said, the 10 things you must do before you ever think about selling your house. The 3 things every realtor must tell you before they, offer your home, whatever, all this content pieces. And I would be following up. And then that would basically implement in their minds, they're thinking, okay, well, this dude's or girls everywhere, they're doing some awesome stuff. And, and that just gives them a repeat time to make contact with you. Because in the real estate game, at any given time, this applies to most any industry, there's only about maybe 3% of people that are ready to take action now. So it's like very, very few people are actually going right now to take the action that you want them to take, whether that's buying your product, selling their house, trying to buy a house. It's a small, but probably 50% of the people are thinking about it. They're in that unsure stage. I might do it, I might not. And then the rest people might not even be thinking about it, but they just thought it was neat. So they were checking it out, but they're still at least in that web. You kind of want to get them in your sphere of influence. So you can continue to follow up with them via email, via the Facebook ads, all those things. And where it takes a really big jump and can get extremely, extremely good on the Facebook side is, let's say you do this for 3 months, and after 3 months you look back and you have 5,000 people who watched 75% or more of your video, and say you've got 1,000 people who signed up on the buyer side, and I'm just making things up for math, and 1,000 people who signed up on they want to sell their house side. Facebook will then allow you to take those audiences. So we have 5,000 that watched it. We have 1,000 that want to sell their house, 1,000 that want to buy it. You can then tell Facebook, go out there, Facebook, and find me people that look like these people. And Facebook is called a lookalike audience. It's shortened to LAL. And what it does is Facebook has reams and reams and reams of data, right? I mean, they get into trouble for it, right? All the time because they have so much data. They basically will make sort of like a profile of the people that did the action that you're asking for, and they're going to say, okay, what is the commonality amongst these people? And I don't remember the exact data points they have, but let's just say it's 200. It could be, you know, gender, age, demographic, homeowner status, zip code. There's all these different things, and they compile, and then they go out and they create a list for you, a new audience of people that look like those people. And then you can turn around and you can show those people the video. You can show those people the follow-up ads. You can show those people the blog posts. And the more people that are opting in, the more people that complete that action, guess what? Facebook's getting smarter and smarter and smarter with finding out who that person is that you're going after. Because a lot of people, most people fail on the ad spend side, is they jump in, they spend money, it's very, very expensive, and then they stop. I'm even doing this myself right now with AdWords. I spent a few thousand. I was like, it's too expensive. I turned it off. But what you really need to think about is that when you're starting an ad campaign, you're not starting an ad campaign to see instant results. You're starting an ad campaign to buy data. So all you're trying to do is you're spreading out your cash. You're testing out different ads. You're testing out different audiences. You're testing out different times of day, right? You're buying data on all these things because maybe only 1 out of 20 is going to work. It's almost like a jackpot. You got to keep spinning it till you get the sevens across the whole way. I'll give you an example that'll make a little bit more sense because it is something that we more understand. Because when you talk about Facebook and you get into like audiences and video and lookalikes and copies, all this weird stuff, it gets to be odd. But we just have been doing for a different company a radio ad campaign, and we spent about $60,000, and it was costing us around, I think I want to say like 2,000, a little bit under $2,000 to generate one sale. And the sale was only a $37 product, right? So you would just think, man, what a fail. You know, like that's on the internet side, we can produce those buyers for under, $100. So we're talking like a 20x more money. But when you dig into the data, we started to look, and we were running these ads on all these different stations, channels, which is funny because that's what you call it, right? Different channels when you run ads. Well, on the radio side, we had different times of day that we did it. We had different ads that we ran, and then we had completely different stations. Now, not only did we have different stations, we had XM going on one side and we had AM FM going on the other side. So we were spreading out everything, but because we were tracking and we looked back, so we let the ads run for 1 month, then we paused it. And I said, okay, let's see what happened. Now, I don't have yet the exact figures, but when we looked at it, I think we had produced, it was around 34 sales or so, right? Well, I think 29 of those 34 sales came from XM radio. So, and we didn't even spend, but maybe a third of the ad budget on that one piece, that one XM. And then we looked and we had tested like 5 or 6 different ads. Well, guess what? I think almost all the sales came from just 2 ads. So if we hadn't dug in and looked at it, we would have just said, oh, radio doesn't work. It sucks. Turn it off. What a big waste. But now we know, okay, if we run just on XM, and we also saw that pretty much all of our sales came during the popular times, like the 7 to 10 and then like the 3 to 6, the drives to work and the drives home. And so now we know, okay, our next time we go in, and we found out even within XM it was certain channels on the XM station that were generating those sales. So it's like, okay, great. So what do we do now? So now we go back and we say, okay, well, we want to run only these 2 ads. We want to run them only on XM, only on these particular stations, and only at this particular times. So we spent $60,000 to buy that information, that knowledge, right?
Let me ask you a quick question here. I gotta jump in because I just want to make sure I'm understanding the math. So you spent 60 grand, XM delivered 29 sales at $39. So your net yield was $800. Am I understanding that correct?
Yeah, but that's just the starting point for us. That's the opening of a funnel.
Sure.
That's for
I just want to make sure that I got the math right. That was all my. Go ahead. Continue on.
Yeah. So basically, and again, I'm still not even saying that this is for sure going to be what we end up with, and it might not ever pan out like I hope, but at least now we know. And then the other thing we found out is we were doing our particular campaign, and this makes me look so stupid. I hate to even share it, but it's just one of those things you don't think about when you're going into a whole different area. We had it so when people would call us, it had like a voice prompt. Say, thanks for calling. If you like us to text you the link, go ahead and press 1. If you prefer to leave a voicemail, press 2. It was kind of like that. And most people hung up. It was like maybe only 2 out of 10 would do anything. And I kept thinking, why is this? Why? Finally, I talked to the radio guy that helped us put it all up. And he's like, well, man, these people are driving home in their car. They're not, so most of them are by themselves in their car, and they're not going to be sitting there on their phone like, oh, hey, I'm trying to drive. Press 1, So most people, it turns out on the radio side, will either just call real fast and then stop it. So the phone number is in there, and they're not going to sit there when they're driving and try to like hear someone talking on a voice prompt and then press 1 and press all this. So it was just not thinking through the customer experience. The prospect experiences are sitting in a car driving. It might be driving 80 miles an hour down the interstate. It's not very safe to be trying to pressing 1 and 2 and all this stuff. So
yeah. I think that's great, Michael. I think we're going to go for our break, folks, and when we come back, we're going to be discussing some more about with Michael, and we'll be back in a few moments. We're coming back. We've had a feast about internet marketing. I've been fascinated with the conversation. So, Michael, I think to recap, I think what you're trying to say is that a lot of people, obviously the example you're using was quite a large budget with quite a large client.
Yeah.
But the principle is just the same, is that sometimes you got to accept a little bit of loss to get the data that will enable you to focus your digital marketing so you do get success. Would you say that's the overriding principle?
Yes. Yeah, that's what it took me 20 minutes to say. So you did great there. Yeah.
Right. I just want to, what particular areas online that I think what also from what you were saying is the 2 hot areas that get you going at the present moment which are combined is Facebook with video. Is that correct?
Yeah, video on Facebook is great. You even even if you keep your ad exactly the same, but you add a video of like a picture that runs for 20 seconds, Facebook will usually decrease the cost of that ad just because they love video, because it keeps people on the site longer. People love video, so therefore Facebook does too. So I've even seen people that make a video that doesn't even make any sense. It's just there just because it's driving down the costs.
Yeah, and I also think what you were trying to point out in the first half of the show is that that some of these people, because they watch a certain length of the video, they're giving a strong signal. They're giving us a strong signal, which then you can retarget them. And retargeting normally is a lot cheaper than trying to get people that are totally cold to you, your product, your service, and then get them to do something. Is that what else?
Yes, that's a big piece to it as well. Yeah, when you do retargeting, it's basically like you're providing the data. So then Facebook is going to make that cheaper for you. And when you do the retargeting too, like I had said, there's an added benefit that even if they're not conscious of it, they're going to at least sort of recognize you, especially a big thing, especially for agents to do, is making sure that their Facebook page picture is a picture of them. It's their face. Don't do the whole like corporate-y thing, because Facebook is a social platform. It's about people, right? So you want to make sure that you're kind of branding your face. Same thing if you're doing a video, like if you want to do one like a quick one featuring you, like if you're on screen, and this is probably a little controversial. I've not done this, so I don't know. But in the real estate space, but in the other spaces, we often see that more like real videos get a lot more traction. So a video shot on an iPhone may get more shares, more talking, more communication than a studio video with like a professional sound stage, all that stuff, because a lot of people just see that as an ad. But they see a guy walking on the beach or something talking as like a real video that you made that day. And that's what Facebook is, right? If you scroll around Facebook, most of your, all your friends and family they're posting pictures of their cat and their dog and what they ate and what they did. All those things are what people like. So the more you fit in with the look and feel of the platform, the more you're going to kind of get traction.
I think that's a great point. We're going to wrap it up for the podcast part of the show, folks. We like to keep it around 30 minutes, but hopefully Michael's going to agree to stay on for a little while, and we're going to delve, see what Robert thinks of all this, and then almost maybe delve in a little bit of Michael's fantastic personal story as well. So, Michael, how can people get hold of you and find out more about you?
Yeah, so if anyone wants to find anything about me, they can just go to onlyonemike.com. That's onlyonemike.com. And if they go to onlyonemike.com/mailright, I've got a free book there that they can opt in for to get the book. And it's called How to Obliterate the Blank Page. And it's my strategies that I use when I have to write an ad or write sales copy, and especially when you're starting from scratch. Because most people sit there and stare at the blank page and think, what in the world do I do? So this kind of gives you 7 or 8 strategies to get started, some questions to ask yourself, so you never have to deal with a blank page again.
That's great. And my foreign correspondent here, Robert. Robert, how can people get hold of you?
As always, they can come to my website and they can say hello to me at inboundrem.com. They can schedule an appointment if they want to talk to me, but mostly they can check out all of my great content on real estate marketing, and I would be extremely happy, and they would be extremely happy.
They would be. Robert's very approachable. And if you want to get hold of me, it's really easy. Go to the MailRight website or get hold of us on the Facebook page. I'm very accessible myself. I'm always there to help and have a chat with an agent that wants some advice about online marketing, and specifically Facebook. So we'll see you next week when we're going to have an expert like Michael, and we hope to give you some insights, some ideas to move your business to the next level. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye.
That's hear you next week, the podcast.
Yes. Michael, you first of all, Robert, what did you think of what we discussed in the podcast? What resonated with you, Robert?
Well, I mean, from the perspective of an entrepreneur tackling new businesses using online marketing tools, I'm loving the fact that Mike is riffing on things like multivariate testing, and he's talking about kind of an interesting retargeting viewpoint, using a lot of mediums that I personally have drifted away from over the years, such as radio and direct mail. I have a burning question, because there's one point that he kept bringing up over and over again, and it made me really strongly believe that you just have a really excellent list provider, which is always hard to find, because you keep talking about how you have better data on the direct mail side, and I find that to be really rare. So you've got some kind of list provider that's giving you, hey, we're paid off on our home free and clear, and we're investors. You have a qualified investors list that you're dropping 5,000 pieces of mail to. Am I right on that, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're getting that information from a list vendor. Am I also guessing that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, he won't reveal how it does. And they claim that they have algorithms and all this stuff that they use to pull it all. I've toyed with it and played around with pulling data with my business partner. He's very good at Excel. So, you can go to almost every county and download the data files of every house. And then you can create all these filters and you can sort them out. And we're playing with that some, but honestly, I think it's better just to find someone and pay them, because it's a lot of work. And every single county has like their own format. So it's not like you can create like a default template that you do the same thing every time, because like, for example, they may call it, bed, bedroom, bedr, BDR, what I mean? There's so many different field names that it could end up being that, and then not all of them have the same stuff. Like some won't show, just all kinds. Like, it's so hard to say it, but when we were going through it, some would not show, like some would only show total square feet, not like square feet of like the actual house, just things like that, where you don't know what you're going to get till you download it. And these files are huge too, because they're entire counties. And of course it depends on which county. But yeah, I would say finding a good broker to get you good data, that's everything, right? Because if you're getting in front of the right people, that helps.
Are you paying per name, or are you paying per block of data? Like, are you choosing a county and then he's charging you per county?
Yeah, it's by zip. So it's all by zip. And then I actually don't even know the exact amount of cards right now. I mean, I can pull it up, but I just know the spend. So the $5,000 is the spend. So I think it's a good.
So he drops the mail and targets the end prospect. That's what your vendor does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's interesting. I mean, actually, that may not be interesting to our audience entirely, but that's interesting to me as I have been a marketer my entire life since I was 17, so for 30 years, and it's fascinating to me all the different ways that people can target mediums. The reason I've drifted into digital is because it can be so specific and it's so trackable. Like we can find the life of a visitor. We can see how long they hung on a page, how many different pages they looked at. The amount of data that we can collect if we want to is insane with online. Like every single footprint is trackable. That's what I like. I also, I was going to ask you a couple questions about retargeting, but how are we doing on time, John?
I think we go on for another 5 minutes. One of the questions I want to ask Michael is linked to what we just said. Is how hard was it to find this vendor? Did you have to go through quite a few vendors before you found one that was reasonably effective?
I lucked out because I had like a referral, so that kind of helped me, But yeah, but definitely, and the thing too is they are booked up right now. Like they pretty much sell zips, and it's hard to get them. I had to even wait for a little bit to even get in. The other piece too, and I'll speak to this, and Robert, this might help you with what you're thinking some, is that I think the reason why it does good for me in my targeting is that the people that I want to sell to are always going to I mean, that I want to buy from are going to be older, because you know, imagine how old you probably got to be to have a house or two paid off, right? You're not going to be 30. In general, you're going to be 60 and stuff like that. So that medium, you know, is very, very attractive to those people. Like, you'd be amazed how many people will actually take the postcard, write something on it, right, and then mail it back to me with making you know, and so it's you know, some people always will say stuff like, oh well, you know, direct mail's dead, or this is dead, or that's dead. The real truth is, it matters who your demographic is. I would say potentially, even though now I'm starting to see stuff this is not true, but you could say maybe direct mail is dead for people under 30, right? But I'm also being told that people under 30 don't even get anything. So when they do, they're like, wow, I got something, you know, like it's a big deal to them to get something sent. I don't really know if that's true, but I'll give you one other example. I was at an event and I talked to a guy, and he was telling me that he sells, I don't want to get it wrong, but it was a lot. Let's say about 70,000 books per year on topics like diabetes and like how to, you know, certain foods to eat and foods to not eat, how to deal with arthritis. And I was like, oh man, are you doing like Facebook? Are you doing Google? Like, how are you getting your people? And he's like, oh no, man, I don't do any of that. I was like, well, direct mail? That's what I thought it had to be. He's like, oh no. I was like, well, what? He's like, newspapers.
Yeah.
Which you would think that's dead, right? There's no one that runs those ads. But guess what? Who's reading those people? I mean, who's reading those papers? Older people that are dealing with diabetes, arthritis, heart problems, right? So it's like the channel may be dying, but it's not dead. And the audience that it serves is what you want to be thinking about. You want to be thinking about, where's my audience hanging out? Because that's where I want to put my ad spend. So same thing for him. So he sells, and these people, pretty much all of them, like, write them checks and they mail a check because that's what they do. You know, that's how they've grown up. To them, that's just the way things are. You know, they're not going to go on a site and, you know, buy it. They're going to send a check. So yeah, that's one thought. So that's kind of why I think the direct mail side is doing pretty good for us.
Okay.
You got to understand your audience. That's what you're saying. But I think the great thing you pointed out, Michael, is that Facebook is still a bit cheaper than Google AdWords, but the prices are going up on Facebook. So, and also getting somebody to do something straight away, if you can warm them up, but see strong interest and then retarget them, you're probably going to see a lot more success. I think that was the key point that you were trying to make, wasn't it, Michael?
Yeah. Just keep extending out, keep showing up, keep providing value. You can, if you want to go super hardcore, you could even put different pixels on your site. So if they hit your page, you can start showing banner ads all across the internet. You can start showing videos on YouTube. You know, so at that point, they're just like, wow, man, look at this person's everywhere. You know, that's a little bit more. But again, all the stuff that I said is probably a lot of advanced stuff. If you're not doing anything yet with this, just go get started. Go just, you know, turn on your first ad. And if you're trying to sell a house, or, you know, the cool part is, even if your ads, even if it costs you $500 to get one customer, what can that be? That could be worth $5,000, right? So, you know, that's one great thing about being an agent, is you have such a great back end. You know, your back end payout's so good. I'm blown away when I find that, when I hear the stats, that most agents don't ever make sales, don't ever do anything. And right, it's like I don't know what the stats are, but it's really bad. And I always think, man, these people haven't made. They can make one sale and potentially make 5, 10, 15 grand. So who cares if it costs you $2,000 to get one? You know, if you can afford it, you know, get it. And then once you get one, take those funds and expand it. But I mean, I've been told that most people don't run ads. They just kind of knock on their friends' doors and stuff and say, hey, do you want to sell your house, or you want to buy a house?
There's always an approach it to start off with. But I think you've really touched some really interesting areas, and you have to come back at some stage, because I think we only touched on the areas that you could talk about, Michael. Also, I'd like to point out to the viewers that Michael's got, which we won't have time to touch now, but maybe if Michael decides to come back at some stage, Michael's got a fascinating personal story as well of achievement, and also dealing with some difficult personal issues. Nothing terrible, but it's just a fascinating personal story. So if you want to learn more about that, Michael's got some other interviews that he's done, which I listened to, and I was fascinated by your personal story, really, Michael.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. I think we're going to wrap it up now for the show, and we'll see you next week, folks. Bye.
Bye.